National Geographic. Microplastics are raining down from the sky. Scary.
Yikes.
I know. We've got this. Scientists recorded a daily rate of 365 microplastics particles per square meter falling from the sky in, how do you say that the mountain range?
Oh, the Pyrenees.
Yeah, Pyrenees Mountains in southern France. Here we go. Got a video. Going for it.
Our research was started because we're paraglider pilots, and we actually started to see a lot of plastic in the air as we were flying.
Okay, and when you were travelling through France, I understand as well, you perhaps were surprised by the level of rubbish that was in the air. Did that immediately make you think, actually, there might be something more than what we're just seeing, the flying plastic bags?
Yeah, there was a couple of studies done by Kai and Driss on Paris and Dongguan, China, that really it started the ball rolling as to thinking about where it could be elsewhere.
Continuing on.
No, so this is part of a postdoc project that I was lucky enough to get with the Ecolab in Toulouse in France. And the site that we're on is a long-term monitoring site. So they have a very good understanding of the atmospherics in the area and the water pollution through groups like CESBio and Ecolab, which makes this a perfect monitoring location.
What does this mean, Dr. Joe, for us? When we're walking in the mountains in the Pyrenees, we assume the air is as fresh as can be. So what did you see that made you think, oh, no, it might be otherwise?
We have some models around that are looking at where microplastics are and how much they are, so sort of source to sink models. We understand that pollution is coming out of urban areas, going into rivers, moving into the sea, that we have plastic pollution in the top of the sea and all the way through the water column into the sediment. But the balance isn't there. There are knowledge gaps and there are losses in the model that we have. So we don't understand where this extra plastic is being lost. And the logical thought process, if you've ever seen a plastic bag sitting in a tree or on a fence, is to think, well, actually, it's flapping in the breeze. The last place that we need to look is up.
Ooh. So, microplastics literally falling from the sky.
This is crazy.
I think I have one more clip.
Well, the sun and the environment will actually break them down into smaller pieces. They don't
He was asked, how do microplastics form?
disappear. They just get too small for us to see.
We've obviously seen that they've gone from cities, which is where we expect them to be, to places like the Pyrenees. Does that mean that they could get to places as remote as Antarctica?
Yeah, unfortunately, this study was a bit short to show just how far they can go, but yes, we believe that there is nowhere left safe from microplastics.
The key point from this study is that these plastics are now atmospherically transported. So we don't know how far they can go, but we know that the air transports them, and that could potentially be anywhere.
I mean, that's going to be anywhere the wind blows.
Yeah. National Geographic was covering that too, that study. They wrote a whole nice long article on it. It's really cool. Check it out. It was incredible how much microplastic was being deposited, said Dion Allen, a researcher in the Ecolab School of Agricultural Life Sciences, Toulouse, France. There's no obvious source for the microplastics within 60 miles, said Allen.
Something else to emphasize. So these particles are, are in microns. So that's going to be on the order of 1 × 10⁻⁶ meters.
Mm-hmm.
So these are really, really small particles.
Human hair averages between 50 and 70 microns in diameter, according to that article.
And they found fragments that were less than 25 microns.
Yeah.
So
microplastics may just be
it's really our next health crisis, I believe.
If it's in the air and it's falling from this, it's
it's in the air, it's in the water. But the problem is it takes, hundreds to thousands of years for these plastics to fully degrade. So, eventually they'll be broken down, but until then they're being physically shredded. And we're not really sure what the full impacts of this is going to be.
Well, I have another video from Seeker. Are you seasoning your food with microplastics?
We've all heard the term microplastics ad nauseum, and they're pretty much what they sound like. Plastic debris that has been weathered down into tiny fragments, usually 5 millimeters long or less. When we talk
Correct.
about it, we mostly focus on how this trash affects our ocean life. We regularly find plastic inside the bellies of birds and whales. And for our shellfish fans, a study has shown that European consumers can ingest up to 11,000 plastic particles a year from eating shellfish.
Guess what, my friends? It's in the salt!
Ever heard of a little thing called, I don't know, salt? Yeah, salt. Sea salt to be exact. Those 0.3 millimeter salt grains have microscopic plastic particles in them. A recent study from Nature found microplastics inside the grains of 16 different salt brands taken from 8 different countries, which held plastic fibers and beads as small as 160 microns. The Earth is literally taking our trash with a grain of salt. And by the way, the study conveniently didn't list the brands, so don't even look for it. I already tried. The types of plastic inside these salty crystals are important too. The polymer particles found were mostly polypropylene and polyethylene, which are 2 types of durable plastics that are used in things like grocery bags, plastic bottle caps, prescription
Straws.
bottles, lunch boxes, and more. And this isn't the first time we've tested for microplastics in our salt. Even earlier in 2017, researchers tested 21 different types of Spanish table salt, and all 21 of them were found to have polymer particles of polyethylene terephthalate, which is used to make plastic bottles.
I've got 2 more videos, but I don't know if you want to continue on.
Yeah, let's hear
let's do it.
This polymer, polyethylene terephthalate, you know, the one that's used for plastic bottles, takes up to 400 years to naturally decompose. Plastic hasn't even been around that long yet. It was invented in 1907, but since the 1950s, plastic production has ramped up, and now we make over 300 million metric tons globally, and up to 12.7 million tons of plastic waste enters our oceans every year. It's barely been over a century, and we already have plastic in our salt, guys.
Possible danger.
Do speculate from past research is that the accumulation of microplastics can cause particle, chemical, and microbial hazards. Particle toxicity may occur if a critical mass of pieces are localized and cause an immune response from your body, which your body can't do much about anyway. Chemical toxicity could occur since the particles may excrete deadly pollutants they've picked up from the environment, and plus, what plastic is made out of in the first place isn't too good for you. But when it comes to the salt, we haven't ultimately found a dosage of microplastics that's harmful to us yet. The production of plastic is still on the rise, and it's expected to triple by 2050.
That's just...
Yeah.
So, because we're originally looking at the microplastics from the sky, and then I found the one about the salt. I said, what the hell?
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I'm not even sure where to begin because there's plastic everywhere. I mean, even glitter. I think you mentioned earlier today there used to be those plastic microbeads.
Yeah, and facial cleansers and stuff. And
they stopped that.
Yeah,
but
a little too late.
I mean, even then, just the physical wearing we're going to have plastic particles everywhere.
Yep.
And, we have to remember the U.S. is not the biggest producer of plastic.
No.
So.
At least plastic pollution. It's India and Asia, isn't it?
Yeah.
By far, I think they have 60% or over 60% if you combine them.
I believe so.
Well, are we good? Are we going to leave on that high note? Microplastics are bad? Everyone, take care.
We'll see. This is an engineering problem. So right now that we know that there's a problem, we need to figure out how to solve it.
Yeah.
And again, a large part of that goes back to figuring out water purification methods. The air is probably going to be trickier.
Yeah. Good thing we're resilient as human beings. We might survive.
I mean,
probably will.
You can probably eat some plastic.
Probably plastic is fine.
Again, the question is the long-term effects and if some of these kind of can act as hormonal mimics or, what that might do.
400 years is a long time for something to break down. So maybe in 400 years, we'll see.
But
we'll see what the effects are.
We could use this as a cautionary tale, but we probably won't. Because the cautionary tale is just because we can invent plastic and do it and make some material that's super durable doesn't mean that we should. Which kind of goes back to 5G.
Just because you can,
let's
mean you
slow
should.
down. Let's try to understand the facts because that's what we're trying to do now. Is science is trying to catch up.
No, profit, money. Got to make money.
That's
money.
kind of the problem.
Money.
If we could have more oneness and think about everybody and, do some science.
And love. Thanks for tuning in. If you found value and useful information in this show, please support the show by emailing us ask@healthytalkshow.com, leaving us a voicemail, 509-878-3229, or supporting us financially over at healthytalkshow.com/support. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks again. Love and light.
Love and light.
Thank you so much for watching. For more content like this, please check out our podcast over at healthytalkshow.com/subscribe. We're live Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at healthytalkshow.com/live. Love and light.